Designing a difficult game can be pretty tricky because you're always riding a fine line between what's difficult but fair and what's insufferable bullshit. I've played my fair share of hard games over the years, and there's a lot of design choices that either make or break the experience for me. I bring checkpoints up first because the saving of your progress in a game can really make the difference between you moving on or giving up. Some games save your progress every given level, some every other room, and some games hold off on giving too many save points out, giving you a sense of satisfaction every time you come across one. Designing checkpoints is not easy since too many of them might ruin the intensity of the game, and not having enough could be extremely frustrating. In a more specific example, it's almost a universally accepted game design rule to have a checkpoint before a boss fight. This is so if you get killed by the boss, you can immediately get back into the action, instead of having to waddle your way back through everything you've already completed. However, there are certain games that ditch this concept. I don't really know why, but games like Dark Souls make you replay a long section of the game just to get to another chance at the boss fight. Having to replay the same area that you've already beaten over and over just isn't fun. The level of difficulty in the area with the regular enemies is often a lot easier than the actual boss fight is anyways, so it doesn't make much sense to make the player replay it again and again. When you're talking about RNG in difficult games, usually what comes to mind is the roguelike genre. Randomly generated levels and items can be a really cool way to spice up your gameplay experience, and make each separate run feel unique and interesting. However, it's important that your randomly generated features don't drastically change how much fun you can actually have. Games like Spelunky and Nuclear Throne leave you feeling pretty similarly powerful regardless of how lucky you get. You definitely can get some really awesome setups, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't hurt you too bad if you don't get the best stuff. But not every game pulls this off to the same level of success. What comes to mind in particular is The Binding of Isaac. From my own experience in the game, it feels as if you're either supremely underpowered, causing a lot of the levels to take way too long to complete because you barely do any damage, or supremely overpowered, causing the game to hardly feel challenging anymore. I think this problem could have been easily mitigated if a lot of the upgrades in the game actually felt like upgrades. There's a ridiculous amount of items in the game that give you such a minimal amount of benefit that they might as well not even be there. Waiting is not fun. So when your game is littered with needless downtime, the experience becomes not only just very frustrating, but very annoying. I think I can break it down into about 3 main categories. First of all is just mechanic-based problems. It's not fun to have to wait for an enemy to finally stop blocking, it's not fun to have to wait for an elevator to show up, and it is not fun to have to wait for my goddamn sprint to recharge. Second, please, for the love of God, do not make me have to watch your unskippable cutscene for the 3rd time. And last but not least, don't make me have to wait a stupid amount of time between deaths. Think about if instead of respawning instantly in, let's say, Super Meat Boy, you had to wait about 5 seconds in between each death. It's a pretty minor difference, but I'm sure you can already see how absolutely awful that would be. Imagine dying in a game, having to watch a failure animation, having to then jump back into the level you were kicked out of, and then having to reselect the level that you want to play. It may sound trivial, but the little things do add up. To try and make games more accessible to a larger amount of people, games often employ different strategies to accommodate for players of different skill levels. This sounds good on paper, but there are good and bad ways to go about doing this. I've never been a fan of selectable difficulty. The last thing I want is to feel like I'm playing a worse version of the game that the developers originally designed, which is more often than not what happens. This is because most selectable difficulties are just scalars for enemy health and damage. I think it's a little bit insane to design a game around certain mechanics and certain values, and then scaling them and somehow expecting to get the same sort of experience. With this system, the level of difficulty is usually either way too easy or way too hard compared to the original design. Unlike scalable difficulty, Adding optional challenges to your game is a non-intrusive way to add challenge to your game for players that want to go the extra mile. This goes for collectibles, side quests, and bonus levels. None of these objectives are necessary to beat the game, so players that want a little more difficulty can go for these extra challenges. It's the perfect balance, because more skilled players get what they want, while at the same time still giving the average player an enjoyable experience. In the end, the most important thing is that your game is fun to play. And of course, not everyone is going to enjoy every game, and not everyone is going to enjoy the same games in the same way. Everyone is bound to get something different out of every experience, but I think that what I've laid out are some pretty good examples for why certain games are maybe more enjoyable than others. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.